Hi guys, the JazzieNerd here, and it has been 2 weeks since I made a Sunday Snippet video. It's time to fix that. So, a couple weeks ago, I heard a sermon on the first few verses of John 15, which read as follows. I am the true grapevine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit so they will produce even more. And this is, of course, Jesus talking. He's the vine. The branches are believers. The sermon that I listened to was about what it means to bear fruit. But the last part of this passage spoke to me in a completely different way. First, to put this in a more modern context, we need a story. I love a good story, especially when it's mine. So, my mom is a very enthusiastic gardener. She always makes sure something is blooming in our yard. And not just something that can be seen from the street. She fills up the front yard in spring and summer, and then when it starts to get cold and all that stuff dies, she adds pansies, which like cold weather, to all the flower beds, and then when it warms up and they die, we start over and just go in circles like that, kind of. And a couple years ago, we had a rose bush growing at the bottom of the driveway that wasn't doing so well, so Mom decided to remove it. So she cuts it back all the way down to the stump, in the hopes that nature would take care of the rest. Oh, that's not what happened. That rose bush came back with a vengeance. It's now close to 6 feet tall and produces flowers by the dozen, and they are beautiful flowers. They're yellow with little pink edges. They are so pretty. And roses aren't the only flowers that thrive if pruned. Azaleas, which are these flowering bushes that bloom in like mid to late spring, or at least ours always bloomed in mid to late spring. We were with just about everything. We were pretty much the last people on the street to get our plants to bloom. We had the same problem with crepe myrtles. Anyway, every branch sprouts a few buds, and they all opened around the same time, and so for a couple weeks, instead of a bush, you've got a mound of flowers. And then once all the flowers have died, the bush has to be pruned, or it won't bloom as well the following year. The way Mom always put it is azaleas bloom on last year's growth. So you prune them, they grow back, and then the new growth is what blooms. And the sooner you prune it, the more new growth you get, so the more blooms you get. Why am I telling you this? Because the same is often true of people. I found, at least in my own life, that a person pruned by some setback comes back from it a stronger and better person and goes on to produce more fruit than before. That's certainly what happened with the whole Pokemon Project Grade thing. It may not always be valid, like in the case of a major catastrophe, but it's probably a dang good argument out for, the whole why do bad things happen to good people question. So, that's today's Sunday Snippet. I always have to kind of force myself to sit down and make these, because every time I make a new one, I'm scared I'm going to run into some atheist who watched the video and then decides it's a good idea to start a flame war in the comments. Oh well. If I'm going to be publicly religious on the internet, I should probably expect that. Because it's the internet, dang it! People are jerks on the internet! Oh well. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video in any capacity, head over to my YouTube channel, the JazzieNerd, check out some of my other videos, and if you enjoyed those, hit the subscribe button because it's a big help. I will see you guys back here tomorrow for a one-off LP. Until then, stay jazzy.